So, as always, please, please, please share this with as many people as you know. If you're watching this on Facebook, please share the Facebook video. If you're watching this on Zoom, every day we're sending the invitation that you were sent. Please share that, email that to anybody that you think would benefit from this information. We really, as a community, need to be very vigilant and very intentional in sharing and staying connected with all of those people that we may not be able to be physically connected with. Babies who are not able to receive connection, especially on a physical level, they literally will die. And we as adults think we're so different, but in reality, we have that need for that connection just as much as babies do. Now, thankfully, we have a different part of our brain that is more developed as we get older, so we can experience that connection in a lot more ways than babies can because they're so instinctual. It has to be that physical. But we as adults, we need that connection. So in order to stay connected with everybody that's going through these very challenging times, that's why we're doing these videos. So like I said, please share these. Thank you so much for joining and staying connected with us, whether you're here present now while we're doing this live or whether you're watching the replay of this. Thank you for connecting. That connection that you have, even though it may not be in this time and space, is still very, very important, and it adds to the fields and the information that's going around through this. So thank you for your presence, and let's go ahead and get started. So the last few days, we've been through stage 1 and stage 2 in a practice called SRI, which is Somato Respiratory Integration, and the 12 stages of healing. Now, I haven't talked much about this, but the 12 stages of healing really are the 12 different phases or steps in the change cycle. As we experience a change in this 3 to 4 dimensional physical human experience, there are stages or steps to that change. Now, because I'm a chiropractor, and because the Donnie Epstein, the developer of this process, because he is also a chiropractor, we look at this through the lens of healing, and that's why we call it the 12 stages of healing. But in reality, it's the 12 stages of change. And these stages are so ingrained in the human psyche that they actually show up throughout all of the cultural myths and legends that have stood the test of time. There was a man by the name of Joseph Campbell that studied all of these and found that there's a similar layout. There's a similar series of events that happens to the hero in all of these. And there's 12 different stages or steps to this. There's 12 different stages to the process of Alcoholics Anonymous. There's 12 disciples. So like this whole in the Bible, so this whole 12, there's something to this number of 12. There's something that's very ingrained in the human psyche whenever it comes to this number of 12. And the reason being is that this is the process of change. So the first stage or step that we went through on day 1 was the stage of suffering, the stage of knowing that there's something wrong. We know that something's not right. We don't necessarily know what it is because that's so overwhelming, and we are so overwhelmed with this sensation that something's wrong, and it's so painful that it's hard to see out of that. With a little bit more energy, with a little bit more progress, we can get into stage 2. And stage 2 is the polarity of the rhythms. Yes, something is wrong, and there's a thing that causes this. It's a this or a that. And if I can focus enough on that, maybe I can get this to go away, but at least I'm no longer locked into only focusing on this. Okay. In stage 3, there's another element to this. In stage 3, there's a me. There's an I that is now going through this process of suffering, going through this process of maybe being victimized. It's no longer just the suffering and just the circumstance, but now there's a me that's involved in this. So stage 3 is the stage of stuckness. Okay. I am so stuck. I am in the middle of this push-pull pattern. I am the one that is ready to start claiming my ability and my responsibility to make a shift into this. And in reality, we are the only ones that we have direct influence over. We don't have direct influence over the circumstances and the situations around us. Okay. If you want to prove this, have a seat in some part of your room without controlling yourself, without moving your body. Try to move an object in your room. You're not going to be able to do it. You may be able to influence that object. You may be able to move that object, but only by controlling yourself. So our ability to make changes in life comes down to the ability of letting go of the extreme focus of the problem, of what's wrong, letting go of why we think that problem is there and who or what caused it, and ultimately coming down to be able to focus on ourselves. Okay. But in order to really be able to do that, the first step in that is to recognize, oh yeah, I am definitely a part of this. I am definitely stuck. This really, really sucks, but at least there's a me, an I that I can have an influence on, that I can enact change through. So in stage 3, there's a you that emerges in order to accept the responsibility for change. Now, my favorite way of describing responsibility is breaking that word apart into the ability to respond. Some of us, and I definitely used to be one of these people, I had a very dysfunctional relationship with responsibility. It's like, oh no, I do not want that. Get that away from me. I don't want to be responsible. But by pushing away our responsibility, we're pushing away our ability to respond, and we're literally pushing ourselves into the role of victim, which sucks way, way more than accepting responsibility. I found this out the hard way. So hopefully this will help to energize you to be able to go through that process a little bit more smoothly than I did. But the ability to respond, the ability to experience the problems and the circumstances in life, and then to consciously and presently be able to say, this is what I'm going to do about this. Okay. So when we're in stage 3, when we're in this stuck, we're noticing that we're being pulled, pushed and pulled. We're in this pattern. We're kind of creating this dynamic somehow in our lives. It may not be something that we're consciously creating. As a matter of fact, most of the time, it's not what we're consciously creating. We may be creating it by either doing something unconsciously, or we may be creating it by rejecting our ability to do something consciously. But there's a part of the problems in our life in which we do have control over, we do have a responsibility over. But when we're creating these things, a lot of times it's easy to slip back into stage 2 and say, oh, I am experiencing this. I have this thing. I act this way. This is the way that my life is because of something that happened in the past. You know, this is just the way that I was raised, or this is the society that I came into, or someone in my past hurt me in this way, and therefore I'm carrying this on and I need to act in this way, okay, because this is just an old pattern. This is an old wound. This is something that, you know, is just there. And in reality, there is no such thing as an old pattern or an old wound. What there is, and what there always is and only is what we are creating, what we are practicing in this time and space, this present moment, this here and now. That can be a tough pill to swallow. That one can really hurt. That can really sting. But ultimately, that brings us into stage 3, where it's like, well, crap. If I'm the one that's creating this pattern, if I'm the one that's holding myself in these defensive patterns, if I'm the one that continues to react this way, well, guess what? I have the power to change that. If I'm the one that's in control, oh my gosh, I can change it. I can control it in a totally different way. So stage 3 is the bridge between life happening to us and life happening for us. And all that we need to do in order to cross that bridge is to claim our personal responsibility and our personal power for what's going on in our life right here and right now. What am I creating? How am I holding myself? How am I thinking? How am I believing? How am I moving into and through life? And is it possible that there's a better way to do this? Just because it was this way in the past, just because it worked this way in the past, does not necessarily mean that this is what we need to continue doing on in the future. Okay, so stage 3 is a very, very humbling stage, but in that humility is also a tremendous amount of empowerment that comes along with that. So one of the things that one of my mentors says, again, Donnie Epstein, is if we choose humility, we don't need to be humbled. We don't need life to smack us to the ground to go, oh, wow, yeah, I need to do things differently. So my prayer for you, my hope for you, my desire for you in this is that you will consciously and presently and empowered choose humility. Choose to look at the places in your life where things have not been working, where the way that you've been going about life has not been creating what you know that you can create, has not been producing what you know you can produce, what has not been empowering you enough to share your authenticity in the way that you know you have the ability to do that. So stage 3, stage of stuckness, but also the stage of personal power, where we shift into I'm going to use this consciously rather than I am just a victim to this. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to, number 1, in stage 3, acknowledge that we're stuck. Acknowledge that we're replaying these patterns, whether it's doing something or whether it's not doing something. We have control. We have an influence on what's going on around us. And then number 2 is to bring our awareness to that innocent part of us, that part of us that is just pure, complete, unconditional love, that part of us that just wants to experience life, that wants to get the most out of life, that wants to be loved, and ultimately wants to love at our highest potential. That inner child in us, before all of that stuff from the world and from our family and from our culture and the way that we were raised and our experience, before all of that was laid on top of us, coming into this world was just a pure, open, loving being. And that's the being that we want to connect with, that inner child. And we want to bring all of what we've accomplished and all of the personal power that we're going to now be moving forward with. We want to bring that and bring our inner child along with us in making this step. Okay, so what we're going to do today, just like we did at the very beginning, is we're going to place our hands right on the very, very top portion over here. Okay, we're going to breathe in the nose and we're going to breathe out the mouth. And as we exhale, we're going to sink in. We're going to fully exhale. We are going to allow our body to drop in. We're going to allow the air to fully be expressed. We're going to allow the energy to completely flow out of our body with the exhale. And you're going to pay attention to that place or that space in the exhale that you can fully and completely let go, that place of peace, that place of ease where it almost just happens for you. It's no effort whatsoever. Now we're going to move down to the second spot, which is going to be right over our solar plexus. So if we follow the ribs right to where the bottom of the sternum meets, okay, it's hard, 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 and then it gets squishy and soft. Right over that squishy soft spot, again, same thing, breathing in the nose, all the way full breath, and then letting go and letting go. And the let go, where's that place or space of peace and ease where you can just totally drop in? Okay. And then that last spot is going to be right over the belly button. Everyone knows where their belly button is. So palm over palm, breathing fully and deeply into that bottom spot, letting go all the way in the nose, all the way out the mouth, completely and totally relaxing. And as we do that, paying attention to that place or space of peace, ease, relaxation, where it just automatically happens. It's effortless. Okay. Now go back and forth, one breath fully in and fully out, paying attention to that place or space of peace and ease. Paying attention, is that place or space of peace and ease? Is it in the movement, the expansion and contraction? Is it in the breath, the full inhale, the full exhale? Is it in the energy flow, all the way in the body during the inhale, and then all the way up and out the body during the exhale? Which one of those three strategies are you able to connect to that place and that space of full surrender? Which one of these three spots are you able to connect to that place or space of full surrender? Or which one of these spots is the most challenging? Which one of these spots is the one that you kind of tune out of? You zone out. It just feels flat. It feels dull. It feels numb. It feels uncomfortable. It feels painful. It's a struggle to fully relax the body into this spot. Which one of those strategies, the energy flow, the breath, the movement, which one of those strategies is the most challenging to tune into? Okay. We can identify which one works, which one's the best, which one's the most energized by starting at the opposite end, by which one's the least, and then just working our way back up to the opposite side. It doesn't really matter. But as you're going through this, pay attention to which strategy works for you. Stay focused on that strategy and pay attention to which one of these spots is the most connected and which one of these spots is the least connected. Okay, at this time, you probably found one of those spots that's the most easy to drop into and which one's the most challenging. It may be the same as it was yesterday. It may be totally different. Right here and right now is the only time and place that we ever have. So what is happening here and now is way more important than what happened in the past and way more important than what you think or hope or believe or dread is going to happen in the future. So right here and right now, pay attention to that most favorite and connected spot. All the way in, all the way out, dropping into that place of peace, ease, and connection. All the way in and all the way out, dropping into the ability to relax into this. All the way in and all the way out, dropping into all the energy flowing out of the body back into space. All the way in, fully and completely, all the way out. Now, connect to that spot that's the most challenging. One breath, all the way in, feeling it, all the way out, feeling the contrast, feeling the difference in your ability to drop in. Now back to that favorite spot, all the way in, all the way out. All the way in, all the way out. All the way in, feeling whenever the body just takes over and it just happens, all the way out. Feeling the effortless dropping in. Now take one hand and keep it over your favorite spot, and the other hand, put it over the most challenging spot. Breathe all the way in below the hand of your favorite spot and all the way out. Breathe all the way in underneath the most challenging spot and all the way out. Drop in, let go, exhale, melt, release. All the way into the favorite spot, all the way out. All the way into the most challenging spot, all the way out. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until we start feeling that our body is almost taking over that rhythm, until we start feeling the connection between those two areas, until we start to feel that those two areas are one part of the same whole. All the way in and all the way out. And now take both hands and place them over the most challenging area. Okay, over that area of disconnection, over that area of discomfort. And what I want you to do is I want you to find, what is it about that area that makes it the most challenging? Is it tight? Is it dense? Is it numb? Is it disconnected? Is it sad? Is it lonely? Is it angry? Is it pissed? Is it whatever it is? Identify one quality, one thing that makes this area the most challenging area to connect with. Fully into this area, fully out of this area. Now, while you're in this area, what I want you to do is I want you to take your hands and I want you to twist your hands to the right, twist your hands to the left. Which one of those directions intensifies it? Which one makes it more uncomfortable? Which one makes it more tight? Which one makes it more sad? Which one makes it more challenging? And which one lightens it up a little bit? Okay, back and forth. It might be up, it might be down, you might be pushing in, you might be pulling out, whatever it is. I want you to intensify it, increase the sensation that makes this area the most challenging. While you're increasing it, keep going, get it more intense, get it more intense, get it more intense. And now I want you to take a big deep breath in the nose and let the sound of the stuckness out. Let the sound of the discomfort out with all that you have. Ready? Go all the way in. Let that sound out, make that sound, make it loud, make it intense. Let your body know that you are feeling what is happening in this disconnected, disgruntled, uncomfortable part of you. All the way in, make that sound one more time intensely with everything you got, all the breath, all the breath, all the breath, all the breath, and then relax. Breathing in the nose, out the mouth, dropping into this area, exhaling into this area, letting the flow of energy just fall out of your body, all the way out, all the way in, all the way out. Now intensify it again. Come on, really get in there, really get in there. Make it much, much louder. Turn the volume up on it. If you can turn the volume up on it, you can turn the volume down because you have your hand on the volume knob. Make it more intense. And on the count of 3, we're all going to say together, I am so stuck. 1, 2, 3, go. I am so stuck. Make the sound and the stuckness. Now relax. Breathe fully into this area and melt, drop in, find that place of peace and ease. Now intensify it again, all the way up. Go, go, go. Make it more stuck, make it more stuck, make it more stuck. And on the count of 3, we're all going to say together, I am the most stuck person in the world. 1, 2, 3, go. I am the most stuck person in the world. And squeeze and let it go. Breathe fully in. And then just melt, just let go, just let the air fall out of you, just let the energy fall out of you. Breathe fully in and let go. Find that place of peace, find that place of ease. And one more time, increase it, turn the volume up on it, make it so incredibly stuck. And on the count of 3, we're all going to say together, I am so freaking stuck. 1, 2, 3, go. I am so freaking stuck. I am the most stuck person in the world. It's hilarious how freaking stuck I am. Oh my gosh. And then relax. Breathe all the way in and all the way out. All the way in and all the way out. Now, from a place of peace and ease, I want you to proudly say, I am the most stucked person that has ever existed. 1, 2, 3, go. I am the most stuck person that has ever existed. I am so freaking stuck. Breathing all the way in and all the way out. Now, I want you to connect to that innocent child. I want you to imagine that this area that has been a challenge to you, this area that's disconnected, really what this is this is an area where that innocent version of you has not been able to be connected with, has not been able to be loved. It is throwing a temper tantrum. It's just trying to get your attention. So as we're connecting to it, whatever it is that made this area the most disconnected, what's the opposite of that? What would your inner child need? What was it deprived of at a certain point or time or space in your life that caused it to throw the temper tantrum? Does it need love? Does it need peace? Does it need just to be relaxed? Does it need to just be? Does it need joy? Does it need fun? Does it need to just be free? What is that innocent, carefree, totally open, ready to experience part of you? That part of you that just wants to love and be loved. What does that part need in order to be able to take its place in the connection to the whole of you? We're going to breathe in the nose, out the mouth, and we're going to apologize on the count of 3 to that inner child. We're all going to say together, I am so, so sorry. 1, 2, 3, go. I am so, so sorry. Repeat after me. I apologize for not being with this part of me in a more loving way before this. I am ready to give this part of me everything that it needs to heal, to be whole, to be happy, to be free, to have fun, to be joyful. I wasn't able to be with this part of me in the past, but now I'm ready to be with this part of me fully. And now just relax. Drop your arms down to your side. Breathing, feeling. What's different about the space around you now? What's different about the space in your body now? What's different about the movement of breath? What's different about the inhale and the exhale? What's different about the flow of energy through your body? What's different about your thoughts? What's different about your feelings? What's different about your you? When you're ready, go ahead and come on back into the body. Come on back to paying attention to the computer. Now, if that was beneficial, if you could really feel the shift, if you felt a big change, or if you didn't, give us some feedback in the chat. Go ahead and type something in. It can be a 1 word, it can be a description, it can be a word of encouragement, whatever you need. Let's get this energy flowing to everybody that's participating in this. So if you're watching on Facebook, even if you're watching secondhand, at a different time and space, please just go ahead and put something in the comments. We're going to be looking back at these to make sure that we're constantly improving and are going to be giving more and more in future events. And so your feedback very much helps us to know if we're on track and if we just need to keep going and add more, or if we need to do something totally different. So thank you so much for participating in this. These 12 stages are really, really important for all of us to be able to go through at this time. This is a massive, massive time of change in history. These changes have been building up for a while now. And as we go through this shift, we're going to need a lot more healthy, whole, healed, empowered people to help all of the others make it through this process. If they're on a little bit of a slower pace in this. So now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the reasons that we get stuck. Some of the reasons that it seems like the more we're moving ahead in life, the more we're moving back in. And one of those reasons, again, has to do not only with the flow of energy, the flow of potential through our body. And that energy can show up in a lot of different ways. It could be electric, it could be chemical. There's a lot of different forms of energy. But that energy flow needs to be going in the right direction. Our electrons, our molecules need to have the right spin on them in order for them to function properly, in order for them to make relationships with other atoms and with other molecules around us. So So in that, whenever we have our flow going either in opposition to our natural nature, or there's conflict in our flow. We've got some of our flow going in the direction that's authentic for us. We've got some of that flow going in an inauthentic direction for us. That can create this stuckness, and that stuckness can show up mentally, it can show up emotionally, it can show up physically, it can show up chemically, it can show up in our life around us. But the goal is to get that flow going in an authentic direction for us. Now, the challenge is that each one of us are unique. So the way that we flow is also unique. Yes, in the human condition, there are a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of differences. Now, the good news is we do not actually have to figure out mentally exactly what our flow is, okay? Because when we're in it, we'll know it. And we'll know it because we're not thinking about all the things that are going wrong and all the efforts that we have to put in. When we're in the flow, when we're in our authentic nature, it is happening effortlessly. Everything is just spontaneously and synchronistically seeming to fall into place. Okay, those around us are uplifted whenever we're around. Those around us are more in harmony, and there's an ebb and a flow back and forth in our relationships rather than a bunch of conflict and chaos. Okay, so the more effort that we're putting forth in order to make a change, the more conflict there is around us, the more conflict there is in us, the more of those lower sensations, anger, sadness, depression, hopelessness, apathy, the more we know we are going against our authentic nature in some form or fashion. Okay, so we're going to use these as indicators. We're not going to try to fix that stuff. Okay, we're just going to, again, focus on ourselves and go, okay, there's a part of me that's stuck. Look at all the evidence around me. I know that there's a part of me that's stuck. Okay, so how can I get back into my flow, whatever that is? Okay, and one of the ways that we can do that is by focusing on our body, focusing on the flow of information in our body. So there's a few different exercises that I'm going to show you today that can physically in the body help you to start spinning or start flowing in a direction that's more authentic for you. So just like yesterday, it's really beneficial to go to an acupuncturist. It's really beneficial to go to an energy worker, somebody that can identify exactly where that flow is. But that's not always a possibility. And whenever you get more in harmony with yourself, you'll be able to have a bigger impact on yourself, where those types of professionals are really beneficial when you're really stuck, whenever you're really overwhelmed, whenever you're really depleted of energy. Ideally, we want to get help over there from them, and we want to start moving in the direction that we don't necessarily need their help. Now, we may want it. I love going to the acupuncturist. I love getting massage. I love getting energy work. It's amazing. But I do that to continue my advancement rather than I am in dire need of it. Okay. And neither one's right, neither one's wrong. They're just different, different times and places in our lives. So one of the things that we can do to help ourselves get unstuck, is what's called the thymus thump. Okay. Now, our thymus gland is right at the very, very top of our sternum. Okay, so if you feel where your collarbones are and you come to the very center of where those collarbones meet, you'll notice like a little bitty divot. Okay, so the collarbones come in and then it kind of drops into a little bitty crevice right over here, right below that crevice. Okay, maybe about 1 to 2 fingers. What you're going to do is you're going to take your fist and you're going to thump on that area to where you can feel that thump moving. You can feel whenever you hit here, and you don't want to hurt yourself, but you do want to feel that resonance or that vibration going into as much of your body as you can. You definitely want to feel it in the backside. You probably will feel it in your head. You might be able to feel it in your hump, in your stomach. But whenever you get more adept at this, whenever you get more used to this, you'll be able to actually feel it throughout your entire body. Okay. Now, this is an area where a lot of the lymph comes, the lymph ducts, the lymph channels come to empty into the circulatory system. So moving this area will send shock waves through the lymphatic system, which will kind of help that to start moving together. This area, we've got a lot of baroreceptors. They're stretch receptors inside of our blood vessels. And these stretch receptors are vitally important for being able to modulate and regulate and control our blood pressure. So by thumping on this area, you're also sending shock waves into those baroreceptors to kind of wake them up and to go, oh, okay, what are we supposed to be doing? So this is a really good way to help shift the blood pressure also. Okay, there's a major branching of the nervous system right over in here. There's the brachial plexus, there's the cardiopulmonary plexus. Whenever we're stimulating those parts, whenever we're stimulating the upper portion of the vagus nerve, it helps to shift our nervous system into a more open and receptive and parasympathetic state. So just this thymus thumb, just thumping this, between 6 to 9 times can help to get much more of our authentic flow, both physically, but also energetically. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing is, I believe this is called kidney 28. Oh, excuse me, kidney 27. Okay, kidney 27 is going to be, if you feel where your collarbones are, okay, you feel the beginning of that divot, the beginning of that knot, there's kind of a nub on your collarbones. If you drop down right below that nub, in between that nub and the very first rib, okay, right off to the side, for most of us, it'll actually probably be a little bit tender. Okay, so you can take your fingertips, all of your fingertips, and you can tap on that spot, again, about 6 to 9 times. You can rub that spot 6 to 9 times, whatever you want to, but just get a little bit of stimulation into that area. There's one on the other side. So, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, I like to do everything in a balanced way. So I like to do both sides. Okay, so again, just by tapping this over here, this can help to kind of start to regulate not only your pH balance, the way that the kidneys and the lungs interact, but because the adrenal glands are right on top of the kidneys, by stimulating this area, you're also affecting the pathways that go through the kidneys and affect some of those adrenal glands also. So this is a really good one if you're triggered or kind of stressed out, to just bring it back into center. Okay, and last one, and if I remember correctly, and I don't know the number on this one at all, this one is one of the spleen points. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to find the very bottom of your sternum, right over here, right where that hard place becomes more soft, and there's a little bit of an in-between area. This is hard, this is soft, but right in between that, there's actually a tiny bone called your xiphoid process, okay? But it's a very flexible bone. So you might, like I said, it's a little bit hard, a little bit soft in between. And if you come just to the side of that, you'll feel a rib. And if you go just above, just below that rib, you'll again probably feel a tender spot. Now that's going to be probably an inch and a half off to the side. Okay, that's that spleen point. And again, just rub or tap that spleen point. Now, the good news is, since these points are really close together, if you're a little bit off, it's not that big of a deal. If you vibrate it, you're going to get over into that section. So don't get too caught up into making it perfect. But like I said, for most of us, because we're typically not in our flow completely, these spots will be a little bit tender whenever we're on them. And if they're tender, that's your body raising his hand and saying, excuse me, I need a little TLC in this area. So, what does everybody think about that? Now that we've tapped on those spots, just tune in, feel the space around your body, feel the space within your body, feel your head space, feel your thinking self. What's different around the body? What's different in the body? And what's different about that thinking space than whenever we first started? So now we're going to open this up to some questions. I'm going to bring everyone's screen so that we can kind of see them. So if anybody has any questions, please type that into the chat, type that into the Q&A, or you can go to the bottom somewhere and raise your hand. And Connie, if you can come on and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello, Connie. And does anybody have any questions either about what we learned today or any in general questions about health, about functionality, about what's going on in the world? And I'm not promising I'm going to be able to answer these questions, but having these questions out helps to kind of kickstart our thinking. And if I don't know the answer, then that's a good opportunity to go do some research. And just like yesterday, where my mom jumped on, if I don't have the answer, maybe somebody else does.
So I don't know. I have a comment more.
Yes, I like comments. Give me the comments.
I feel like even more intensely raw than I did before.
Yes.
And like, so after the SRI, I was like, okay, I still have whatever feelings, but I feel okay with them, and
Yes.
I can honor those, and I felt like I could accept them. And then we did the different exercises, and all those points on me are super sensitive and always have been. And it was
Surprise.
like, right? It's like I was sitting here and my eyes just started crying. Like I'm not even trying to cry, but it's just coming out.
Yep. Just needed to process, need to move through that, get that energy flowing. And this is one of the things that, a lot of times we think that healing, we think that moving forward in life, we think that going through the process of evolving and growing and becoming more of who we're supposed to be, we think it's supposed to be effort. And it's not supposed to be effort. This is a natural process. Healing happens as long as there's nothing preventing it, nothing in the way. So just by unblocking ourselves, just by removing the obstacles, we don't have to push and strive for healing and health. It's already there. We just got to get out of the way. Anybody else? No? Well, thank you. Oh, is there anybody out in Facebook land?
There are, but I don't see any questions from anyone on there.
Fair enough.
Which one was the one connected to the adrenals? The kidney one on the top?
I believe so. And again, I'm not an acupuncturist, so not necessarily my area of expertise.
Oh, thanks for the hug, Sherry.
We appreciate everybody that's...
You're welcome. Love you.
Love you too.
So thanks everybody for showing up. Having trouble looking at the Facebook Live. So if there's nothing else, then everybody have an amazing day. And we will see everybody at the same time, same place next or tomorrow. And then don't forget Thursday, this coming Thursday, is going to be our Thursday evening class at 6 p.m. And the topic is going to be how to love yourself. What does it mean to have self-love? How can you get self-love? Why do we even need self-love? And why do most of us resist self-love? This one is going to be a very, very raw and very real one for me. I'm going to be sharing a lot about what's been going on in my life over the past few months. So if you want some juicy dirt on me, this is definitely the Thursday to tune into. But that very, very painful time that I've been going through, the fruit of it is I have been so much more able to develop a practice of really being able to love myself at so much of a higher capacity than I ever have in my entire life. So that pain was very useful. And so I would like to share what I've learned by going through this with each one of you and with as many people as we can. So please invite anybody that you can think of. We're going to put this up on our Facebook page if we can. We're going to put it up on our YouTube page, because all of us really need a lot more love. And it's very hard, if not impossible, to receive love if we don't have the ability and the capacity to love ourselves. So this is going to be a very raw one. It's going to be a very real one, but it's going to be hopefully one of the most profound ones that we've done up until this point. And then on Saturday, we are going to have an event. It's going to be online. We were hoping to have it in person, but that's not going to happen. But it's going to be how to thrive in wellness. What exactly is wellness? What is thriving? What are some tools that we can incorporate? Now, anyone that's a practice member of Organic Living Chiropractic, if you invite someone and they show up to this digital event, we're going to put your name into a drawing. And Connie, what kind of goodies are we going to be giving away?
We've got a few massages to give away, and then we also have a couple yoga memberships to give away. So the whole thing's all about giving yourself the love. So by sharing the love with other people and inviting people to this, you get entered into the self-love drawing, and you can show yourself some love when we are all able to be in contact with one another again.
So if you go to our Facebook page under the events, you'll see that event coming up on this coming Saturday, and you'll see the event for Thursday. So please share the love. And Connie, who are we working with as far as we're giving away the massage? What massage therapist was so generous in giving us this?
Some of you may know her, Alex Fasolato, or Fasol. I always say her name wrong, but she is the massage therapist who gave us a couple massages to give away. And if you haven't had one from her, she is phenomenal. I've been lucky enough to get one from her, and it was amazing. She does cranial sacral too, and she's just wonderful. And then the yoga is from Cambio Yoga, which we've been advertising their stuff a little bit on our Facebook page, so you guys can check them out. And that's one of my favorite yoga studios in town. They're a donation-based yoga studio, but they also have memberships. So these 2-week memberships that we have that we're giving away, they have I think like $160 value tacked onto them. And the teachers there are really, really awesome. They're a lot more into like the traditional yoga and not so westernized with it like some of the other yoga studios can be.
So yes, please go visit their website, show them some love. Christine, it looks like you have your hand up. I'm trying to unmute you, but it's not working. So Christine, if you do have a question, if you go ahead and unmute yourself or type that into the chat. Oh, nope, she just took her hand down. Fair enough. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for showing up. It's such an honor and a privilege to be able to connect to you during these challenging times where connecting is not what it used to be. So thank you so much. We love you all very, very deeply, and we're looking forward to continuing on this connection. And we will see you guys very soon. Bye.